you're working with this cast. You're making it's multicam, so you're making mid-century modern, and it's on Hulu. And I want to talk about when you're in that process. Am I correct? Linda Lavin was part of this.
Yes,
and she has since passed.
Yes, she has. Sadly,
I don't know. I'm trying to. I remember. I mean, she was huge when I was. The show Alice is how I got to know Linda Lavin. And that was her iconic TV role. But wonderful actress.
Oh, yes.
How much did you work with her?
Well, in the theater, she's a beloved figure, Tony Award-winning actress. Famously, I remember seeing her in Neil Simon's play Broadway Bound. She played his mother, and it's one of the greatest stage performances I've ever seen. And we knew each other just in passing. I was just a fan, and we would see each other occasionally, and we'd always say, "I hope we get to work together someday." So when this happened. This whole thing has been an incredibly happy experience, a rare thing. And it's all the people who, Jimmy Burrows, the director. I've always, again, one of these people.
Jimmy Burrows, one of these guys that, Cheers.
Going back to the Mary Tyler Moore show.
Yes, Friends.
Taxi, everything. He's the dean of the multicam. So, and it's created by Max Muchnick and David Cohen, who created Will and Grace. Yep. And they've put together this tremendous writer's room, and with Jimmy there and what they're doing. And then just the casting is everything. Yeah. And so Linda was... I don't know. That's another podcast, maybe. Right, but it was tragic and shocking and then emotional, and then they took a week. They pushed a week so that they could write an episode that deals with the death of her character, and also where the show is going to go going forward. And they did a beautiful job, and it was overwhelmingly emotional. But she was, you would not believe she was 87 years old. I mean, she was just, and then you put her in front of an audience, and she was, as Jimmy would say, she was, with a joke, she was like a heat-seeking missile. She was just brilliant.
There is that thing, I always heard it about George Burns, that when he was, famously almost made it to 100, but when he was like 96, they said you could wake him up. He could be sound asleep on an airplane, and you could wake him up, and he could do 10 minutes, because that thing doesn't go away. I mean, I know that God knows what'll happen to me, but if I'm in a coma and any of my writers come by or people come by and poke me, I will start doing a bit, and then they'll kill me. Yeah. Then they'll suffer. But what is, I mean,
I think it's away. Yeah. No, she was just, in general, she was a great actress. I mean, she could do drama or comedy, but she was so brilliant at this sort of thing. And it's just been a very happy family. Matt Bomer and an actor named Nathan Lee Graham, who are sensational. And Matt, who I feel like he's going to be the revelation for a lot of people, because he's a big handsome glute, but also a wonderful serious actor. But he's riotously funny, and it was an ordeal to get through, because and then on top we did this very emotional episode, and we felt like we honored her, and we got through it. And then I started to get vertigo. And I'd had it since we've done therapy. I thought we'd now get to the more medical side of my life.
I can do that. I can handle that as well.
Really?
I think it's a zinc deficiency.
Isn't it always? So I had this about a year ago, what's called positional vertigo. And then there's a thing called the Epley maneuver, which, sounds like a bad off-Broadway play. The Epley maneuver, playing at the Village a gate. Anyway, and it usually goes away after a couple of days and some Dramamine. So this time, it really hit me, and I went to an ENT. They gave me a cortisone shot, but I'm holding on to walls, and you really my equilibrium really thrown. And so I Google vertigo, and the first thing that comes up is the Dizzy and Vertigo Institute of Los Angeles in Beverly Hills. And the pictures look nice, and they look professional.
Never go by the picture.
And I'm like desperate. So I go back. So I make an appointment, and I go back to the ENT the next day, Dr. Schnittman. And Dr. Schnittman says it's not positional vertigo. And I said, well, I'm going to the Dizzy Institute right after
this. Isn't real.
Which sounds like
Schnittman says don't go to the Dizzy Institute.
Like it should be run by Jennifer Coolidge.
Yeah, exactly right.
And so he says, that's where I was going to send you. And I said, great. And so I go, and it's a real serious place, and
right.
and they were incredible, and they put me through a series of tests like a NASA astronaut in a chair. You go upside down, all these tests, eye and ear coordination, and they said what you have is called labyrinthitis, which is a virus you get in the inner ear, and I got it in the left inner ear, which was causing severe vertigo and nausea. Yeah. And so the ENT put me on prednisone, and then I had to do a series of exercises, and what's called vestibular therapy. And we had to cancel a week so I could get over this. And now we did the taping we were supposed to do last night.
So how are you feeling now?
A little dizzy. No, I feel...
I picture when you go to the Dizzy Institute, all the furniture is made of rubber. Like anywhere you fall, you're fine.
I told this to Tina. I ran into Tina Fey, and
yeah.
I told her about the Dizzy Institute. She said, "You don't want to go to that parking garage. It's a very dangerous
crash, smash."
Anyway, it's Thankfully, I feel great, and it's I made a recovery, but it's a weird thing.
Yeah.
So we have one more show to do, and then. I have a dicey history with the multicam.
Most people do.
The first one was not my fault. It was Mickey Rooney's series called One of the Boys.
Uh-huh.
Dana Carvey and I did. I'm sure
yes.
You've discussed this with him.
And it comes up occasionally.
Sure. Yeah. I was the biggest star in the world.
1940.
Yeah. Bang, zoom. I heard it all. But that was 13 and out. And then I did an episode of Frasier, and I was nominated for an Emmy. And they said, if you ever want to do this, we'd love to develop something for you. I said, okay. They had won the Emmy 5 years in a row. Mm-hmm. We did. It was not the right fit. 13 and out. Then I did a show with a writer for CBS, Jeff Richmond, an old friend,
yep.
Wonderful writer from Modern Family. He wrote a show, did not work out, and no, you didn't really get much support from Les Moonves,
right?
Salt of the earth, Les Moonves. So, I was like, it's just never going to work out for me. That's fine, I tried. It's a miracle when friends or those things come together that way. And this time I have to say, but these are the best of the best.
Yep.
Jimmy Burrows is standing there with an eye for comedy that's, it's incredible in how they're putting this all together, and the writers and the thing, and you're like, I can't believe this. And it feels like, and I love these people, and that's really important at this point in my life. That we're as Marty says, it's about the hang. Oh, they're an example on, like, when I did Only Murders in the Building. They set the tone. Yeah. Like, you feel good about going to work and having fun doing good work.
Those are all people that the minute it starts to get unpleasant, they're all going to walk. And you're in that category too. There's no reason at this point for unpleasantness. I mean, that's why I adore doing this. It's not a volume business. We're not cranking out. I'm not talking to 3 people a night, 5 nights a week, 40 nights a year. This is people that I love, that I really want to talk to and have a real conversation with and get to know a little better. And if this started to turn into, oh God, I don't want to. No, you kind of have to because they're moving. Okay, well, they're being real difficult. All right, no, there's no reason anymore.
Yeah. And you get, and in this format, you're getting something else.
Yes,
people are more
relaxed.
This is nice. This is a real, much more real conversation than when you're playing to an audience.
Yes, I want to wrap this up because I have to, and we've gone much longer than we normally do, which is always an indication that I'm having the time of my life. And I have one wish for you, is that you do. When I brought up a little while ago in the interview, are you able to own sort of what you've achieved? You said, well, I've been very lucky, and and I say, yes, that's all true, and that's the great perspective to have. But you're also a crazily talented person who has integrity, and you're a very sensitive person, and you have made this happen. And I just want to leave that little nugget with you and hope that you can hang on to it and then go hate yourself 5 minutes from now.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, will you be my friend?
No.
Oh,
no. It's just no. I don't see it. I really don't see an upside. I don't see an upside.
I know. I thought I was pushing it, but
no.
I was just going by the title of the podcast.
No, it's a fucking gimmick. God bless you and thank you.
Bless you. Thank you so much.